Hey, what's wrong? Why isn't the camera working? Oh boy. Oh boy. We have problems. Camera 2. Okay. Let's see if I can figure this out. Live troubleshooting with Steve. Let's turn off the camera. Let's turn it back on. Come on. You can do it. Working? Please? Anything? Well, I don't know. What's wrong? Promise I didn't change anything. Let me check some plugs. Looks good. All systems are not go, apparently. Let's do a little on the fly reconfiguration. Look at that. Okay, let me just save things before something else blows up here. Okay, let's change. Hey, that deserves a drink of water here. Oh, technology, I swear. Good evening. That was fun. That's never happened before, just like the things I've been dealing with this week. So, good thing I put the question mark after all systems go because apparently all systems were not go. I didn't notice that my camera wasn't working for whatever reason. So, good evening. This is a unusual evening edition of I Need Coffee, in which I'm drinking water. So let's see. My last non-live stream was non-live because I had internet issues, and thankfully the support person at my ISP seemed to be fairly cool, and he's like, well, it sounds like the router might be bad. Let's just replace it. And turns out he was right. So I was using this old router. It's called an Action Tech, and it was the typical router for Verizon FiOS. And it was produced over 10 years ago when FiOS was rolled out in my area, my neighborhood. And so my router I got when I moved here in 2013. So it's a solid almost 8 years, 7.5, 8 years old. And it finally just kind of died in a very strange and random way where it would work, but it seems if I had any upload traffic, if I were uploading anything, doing online backups, whatever my servers were doing, it would just take the router down. It would throttle, and I would get 3 to 10 second ping latencies. So really, really bizarre behavior. And also I noticed while testing that when I plug it into the coax cable connection for the ISP, it would take like 15 minutes to get an IP address via DHCP from the ISP. So that was very strange. And it's not something I can go buy and replace. It's not a typical cable modem. Apparently it's called a MoCA router, MoCA gateway terminal something. So I have fiber to my garage, and then I have coax into the house, and this orange thing connected to the coax and provided internet connectivity from there. And I guess you can have coax for TV, and then they have a separate connection for telephone, and so router died. Took 3 days to get a new router. Plugged it in last night. Voila. Working, everything seems fine. So seems the router was an issue, thankfully not some random network switch or cable issue. So funny enough, internet went down on Sunday morning, and while researching everything, I saw the strange thing in my firewall security log. So every day I get an email with a report of all of my firewall activity, including intrusion detections, suspicious activity, weird connection attempts. And one of the weird things I saw were connection attempts against an IP address, and I looked it up. It turned out to be my SonicWall SMA 200 VPN appliance. So this device here is a big old rack mount thing that is my VPN. And so I went to log into that to check its logs. I couldn't connect. I couldn't connect to the web interface, internal IP. I thought, okay, that's kind of weird. Never happened before. I've had this thing almost 4 years, just rock solid, which is a reason I bought it. After fighting for years with other free or basic VPN things, I just got sick of it and got this. It's been fabulous. But all of a sudden on Monday, I cannot connect to it. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I shut it down, reboot it, bring it back up. Nothing. It's just not responding at all. Have a call with SonicWall, and coincidentally, this is happening like 21 days before my support plan expired on this thing, and I didn't realize it. And it just stops working. On the phone with SonicWall, they have me try to reboot in safe mode and do all this crazy stuff. It just won't even boot up. It just sits there. The fans are screaming at top of their full speed, which is what it does when it boots. Fans turn on for like 5 seconds. It just wouldn't boot up at all. So they sent me a replacement next day. I got it on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. But I replaced both of these units in the same day, and both now magically work. So what are the odds of two completely independent network devices, completely different ages, dying like that? Very, very bizarre. And that's an expensive device. I pay $200 a year in maintenance just for the updates and support and hardware replacements. So yeah, I will be renewing the maintenance on that, even though it is expensive. So crazy, crazy week for me. But I'm back up. I think I'm streaming. Let's see. How's it sound? Okay. I think we're live, except for the camera issue. Okay. Next up, another very interesting lesson I learned is OneDrive. And this is primarily related to OneDrive for Business, or what you get with Office 365, not just the free OneDrive Personal. I was using a different tool to sync my files online into my laptop and desktop and keep everything in sync. I switched over to OneDrive because it seemed to work a little better. It works great normally. When you're online, it's fine. When you're offline, it's fine. When your internet is flaky, going up and down, or you have some weird network issues, OneDrive is not a happy camper. So my last video, the non-live stream video that I uploaded, just trying to create a PowerPoint for that, I had to save it 3 times because I would create it, save it, and then my network would flake out. OneDrive just says, nope, I refuse to let you, Office and OneDrive, PowerPoint and OneDrive, refuse to let me like save the file. And it's like, okay, overwrite, discard, changes, save. I'm like, what is going on? So I just did save as A, save as B, and finally I got through it after 3 different files. And my files wouldn't sync, and it just went berserk. And strangely, OneDrive completely disappeared from my laptop. The program was gone. It's as if it knew nothing about my OneDrive account, my OneDrive files, not synced at all. The strangest thing in the world. So I had to reinstall and reactivate OneDrive, relog in, and then OneDrive just suddenly says, oh, this is a brand new computer. It resynced all of my files to my laptop. So my laptop fan is screaming, it's downloading stuff. I'm like, oh boy, I hope it doesn't wipe out my files or duplicate all my files or something crazy. It seems to have done an okay job, but still some things are wonky on my laptop now, and I just don't know how to fix it. But it was not a pleasant experience dealing with OneDrive with intermittent internet. It just, yeah, not pretty. So just be aware of that. If everything is working great with your internet or you're disconnected, it's fine. Flaky internet, not good. Okay, this is a call to action. Let's help Mary. So if you don't know Mary Thompson, she is a Microsoft MVP. I believe she's under business applications. She works with Business Central and Power Platform. You can follow her on Twitter at mm090511. And she, I think it was last year, several months ago, she was helping out a nonprofit organization set up a few computers at their office. And so she created a tech center. It was a women's center, I believe. So she created a little tech center in an office with several computers. And so I worked with her to help raise some money informally to buy things like keyboards and mice and I think headsets and maybe a few other things. And I think we raised over $800 in 2 days or something like that, people on Twitter donating. Well, she's doing another one, and she's on the ground helping set this up. So, I mean, she's doing all the hard work here. So she has another fundraiser to get some tech equipment, some PCs to set up a tech center for another organization. And so to help with that, she has set up a GoFundMe. So there's a link there, or you can follow her on Twitter, and she's posted the link there. And she needs several computers, or at least one computer, it looks like. I haven't looked at all the details, but she set up a $2,800 goal to help fund that project, help her buy the computer and get it installed at this tech center. So definitely go check that out. And if you can, yeah, that would be great if you can help her out and donate. And I'll be talking more about that. And I'll follow up with her and see how it went. And yeah, check out her Twitter account for photos and see how that goes. But hopefully we can get over $2,800 relatively quickly so she can purchase a PC. So that is super awesome. Thank you, Mary. And another super awesome thing, you might have noticed there are a few things going on in the Business Central world. Just one or two little events you might have heard of, webinars, meetings, gatherings, and yeah, you could actually fill your calendar with Business Central events. And that is literally what AJ Kaufman has done. He had the great idea of just creating a calendar page on his blog and used a neat calendar control or plugin or whatever where he is able to set up the events in this calendar. And so now you can go to kaufman.nl/events and check out the calendar. And you see we have office hours that was on the 9th of March. There was a directions webinar today, which I'm going to talk about. The beer and hours tomorrow, Friday, March 12th. And then actually, this time, Sunday, Sarov is moving the BC Open discussion. Sunday's over there. And so, yeah, it's hard to keep up with everything. There's a lot going on. So now you can just hop on here and check things out. And there's this little green event here that I'm going to talk about. So very, very cool. Thank you, AJ, for that. And this cool event, of course, is DynamicsCon. This is the second DynamicsCon. And I believe the plan is to try to do 2 a year in March and October, something like that. And so this is a free conference. It is free to register. Go to dynamicscon.com/sign up and fill out the nice form. And this year, they are using a virtual event platform called Brella. I can't remember what it was last year. It worked perfectly fine. It was nice and simple. The Brella platform has a lot more features, more functionality. It's easier to kind of see different agendas and kind of choose your agendas throughout the day. It has breakouts for networking times, sponsor booths that you can access. So a lot of functionality there. So if you haven't registered yet, I think they're well over 7,000 registrants so far. So it's going to be a great event. It is 16th, 17th, 18th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I have a session there in the BC track with my good friend Shannon Mullins. And lots and lots of sessions. I think it's 16 per track, so 64 sessions, something like that. Really, really incredible conference. So Tons of sponsors. I think there are over 60 or 70 sponsors this year. So excellent. And thank you very much for the organizers. Organized as part of the Dynamics user group, and it's a nonprofit event, fully transparent organization and financials, and all volunteer committee who's helping the event organizers bring this on. So really, really neat event. So thanks to the organizers for making that happen, and the sponsors. And Microsoft is sponsoring this year. And I believe there is a Microsoft keynote speaker as well. So definitely attend. It will be awesome. What's up next? Speaking of my friend Shannon Mullins, some very cool MVPs have gotten together and formed the Microsoft MVP Women in Tech, the Untold Stories group, channel, videos. I'm not quite sure what to call it, but they have formed this group, Microsoft MVP Women in Tech, where Kristen Hosman, Shannon Mullins, and Mary Thompson, all Business Central MVPs, organize essentially live webinars, like live streams, where they talk about particular topics. And the initial one was them introducing the conversation. And then the last one was with a guest. And this time, coming up on March 24th, they are inviting Belinda Allen, whom I also know, also an MVP. So real great conversations with some MVP superstars, talking about the kind of strange things that women have to deal with in business, in tech, as MVPs. And I mean, many things we can all relate to, but some of the strange stories they have of what they've had to put up with. But really neat conversations, and definitely check out the meetup up there. It's kind of a long URL, but you can search for Women in Microsoft MVP Women in Tech Untold Stories and register and attend. So really, really neat program that they've set up. Okay, Business Central. So good question on Twitter by Suresh, and he asks, for an integration, should I create a page and publish it from BC using OData v4 endpoint, or should I create a page type of API? What is the difference? Excellent question. And the gist of it is that if you've gone to the web services page in Business Central, it takes a couple clicks to register a new page if it doesn't already exist. Like if you want to register the customer's list and expose that as an OData endpoint, it's like 3 clicks, and then you click save or publish, and it's up. It's an OData endpoint, a web service, and you're ready to go. And so why he goes on in this thread to ask, why would I go to the effort of creating a custom API page, which requires AL code, requires an extension, requires maintenance? It's not a trivial undertaking. It's not hard, but it's just this new project you have to deal with. And someone has to pay for this, right? If this is for a customer, it's going to cost money. The design, the development, the maintenance, let's say BC changes the API specs, or they change the underlying data, you got to maintain that. So yeah, it's understandable that when you have this easy out of the box option, the customer is going to ask, well, why shouldn't I use this instead of paying extra money and having extra complexity for this? And you can read the thread for all the input, including several people from Microsoft explaining why. And regardless of pros and cons, the OData v4 endpoints are eventually going to be deprecated. They want to move everything to the API, or the Open API 3.0 spec web API endpoints, BC Web APIs, I guess they are. I could never get those two, the naming straight of that. So the recommendation is you create an API page. It is a custom page. You do have to maintain it. but it does have some benefits. You can have your own kind of namespace, as I call it, because you are the publisher that goes in the URL. You also control versioning, so you can have version 1, 2, 3, whatever. You can have breaking changes that you introduce into a V2. So you fully control that. And that's one of the base requirements of a stable API, is that it doesn't change. You don't break that contract unless you're going to offer a new version. So anyway, interesting thread. And if you are interested in learning more about creating a custom API, I had to go back and look at this. 32 or 33. This says 33. So I did a session where I took a copy of the vendor API page, I modified it to add a few fields, and I published it as a custom API. And so I walk through that process and show you how to do that. So you can see it's not hard for a master records, customer, vendor, item, etc. I'm told transactions are more complex. So if you're interested, check that one out. Okay, what's next? This morning, early this morning US time, 4 p.m. CET, Directions EMEA, also known as Directions for Partners. I'm not clear on the branding there, but Directions for Partners had a great webinar with James Crowder, AJ Kaufman, and Eric Waters, aka Waldo. And they did a pretty comprehensive discussion and presentation on the future of Business Central, or preparing for the future with Business Central. And I was a little late because it's a little early for me, but they started with, I think, discussion of the concerns of migrating from on-prem, older versions of Nav, and how you can move up to a current version of Business Central, be it on-prem or SaaS online. And so they covered a whole laundry list of topics, ton of content from high level to very specific details, that some of which I wasn't familiar with at all. So I'm hoping that gets published as a YouTube video so I can rewatch it, because there was a lot of content there that they covered. So I haven't seen it posted yet, but hopefully the Directions for Partners publishes that. And they do have a YouTube channel, so I have subscribed to that to see if that gets published. So anyway, check that out. Good discussion there. And what do we have next? So I don't know if you've heard of this person. I don't know. Eric Hugard. Yeah. I don't know. So Eric Hugard, whom everyone knows in the Business Central world, his company that he works for, eFocus in Canada, they had a really nice webinar this morning. It's a blur. I think it was this morning, demonstrating the SharePoint connector that they sell. And this product, I don't know how old it is. It's at least several months old. It's been in the App Store for quite a while. It is pretty impressive. Just the thought that went into it, and the design and the care. It's just, once you see the demo, it's like, wow, that's they've thought of almost everything, and they're adding new functionality. Just I wouldn't have even considered it. So it is a extension for BC and AppSource. Once you install it, you get a little it's right above the fact box, and it says SharePoint or SharePoint connector. Connects to your SharePoint environment, and it just transparently and seamlessly lets you save or view the file attachments or files in SharePoint, and ties them to your Business Central records, whether that's customers or transactions, just about any window in Business Central. And I think they said even custom windows or third-party windows from other extensions. Really, really amazing product. Super slick, very well done. And they're working on one thing that I would have never thought of. They're working on integrating with DocuSign and Adobe Sign. And so you can just transparently, I think, push a document through DocuSign and then get the signed document back and like attach it to a customer for, say, a contract. I don't know how it's going to be implemented integrated in the product, but very, very cool feature. So if you are interested in using SharePoint to store files and free up disk space from Business Central, that's the one thing that just comes to mind. Besides it being just incredibly convenient to drag and drop files there. Delivery. I think it's a really, really neat product. And I believe Shannon Mullins was looking into it for one of her customers, and it looks great. So definitely check that out. They had a great webinar this morning, and I'm hoping that gets posted to YouTube as well. Okay, next up. Yes. So I'm a bit of a headphone junkie. This represents just a small portion of my collection. I was running out of room on this slide. These are just the over-the-head, over-ear, or on-ear headphones that I just have used recently. And so clear on the far left is a Plantronics Voyager UC that I've been using for years for things like Zoom and GoToMeeting and computer headset use for meetings. And that's fine. But then recently, my daughter and I built a gaming computer, and so we wanted to play some games. And so you can wear headset and games and talk to people and teammates and all that stuff. So I thought, oh, well, this doesn't sound so great for this Plantronics for gaming. So I thought, well, there are these things called gaming headsets. And I bought this one, the second one there, the black one, called the Steel Series Arctic 7, something like that. Wow. I put it on and I thought I had lost my hearing or my ears were defective. It had to have been the absolute worst sounding pair of headphones I have ever used. Like, if you've been on a plane, like an international flight where they hand out the free headphones, they're, even if they look nice, they're really, really poor quality. I mean, I think I would take a pair of those airline headphones over these. They were like, I think $170 or something like that. Absolutely horrible. No highs, no lows, and it sounded like it was coming out of a shoebox. I don't know how people use it. It's a super popular headset for gaming, but it was just the absolute worst pair of headphones I've ever used. So I listened to them for 5 minutes, put them back in the box, and immediately returned them. So after that, I was kind of sad and like, okay, gaming headphones are just anything with the word gaming in front of it, I'm very suspicious of now. And I'm learning that that's pretty standard now. It's overpriced, poor quality, not very well designed. So then I remembered I had a pair of these orangey thingies in there. Those are also Plantronic 8200, I think they're called. And I got these for travel. Yeah, I got these, I think in early 2020 or something like that for travel to have in a backpack. And I got them because they didn't have a boom microphone. One, they were Plantronics. Two, they didn't have a boom mic, and their construction is really beefy. So I can throw them in my backpack and not worry about them getting smashed like that Voyager you see clear on the end. And so I figured those would be great travel headphones. They're noise canceling. They have an integrated noise canceling mic on the earpieces. They're okay. They sound okay, but they're a little heavy, a little bulky, not the most comfortable thing in the world. And the noise cancellation is actually so aggressive that the microphone quality is pretty poor, ironically. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, I tried those for gaming. It's like, so then I was like, well, let me give up on the microphone. If I give up on the microphone, just wear normal headphones, then I can have better sound for gaming, right? So I had a pair of these that I used when I took an audio recording and video production course, online course. And this is the Bayer Dynamic DT880 Pro headphones. And these are apparently called a semi-open back design. And they're, I think they're considered good for audio mastering and post-production, I think is the term. So after you've done your recording, your on-set recording, and have all your raw audio, these are good for producing your audio production and getting your levels right, fixing up the audio, cleaning things up. They're very detailed studio reference headphones. They're not for your rock music. So I tried those. I'm like, oh, those are okay. And then I remembered I have an old pair of Grado SR225s that I bought, gosh, over 21 years ago. I think I bought them in 1999. And at the time, it was the first time I'd listened to expensive headphones. And they sound great, great high-end, great mids, great for rock. They're a little weak on bass. So now I'm listening to those again after buying new like $40 foam ear cups to replace the old ones. So anyway, I'm on a bit of a journey. I've given up on a gaming headset. So now I'm just trying audio headsets and see what I like. Actually, some of my favorites recently are just the AirPods Pro. I think, AirPods Pro. I had the regular AirPods and they just didn't fit my ears. They would just fall out. And the AirPods Pro actually fit. Whereas the rest of my family, my wife and 2 daughters, these will absolutely not fit in their ears. And my friend Tanya has the same issue. I don't know if it's just different ear sizes or what, but the AirPods Pro doesn't work for them, but they love the original AirPods. They fit great. So so these actually are great. Noise canceling, they're tiny, they're so comfortable you forget they're in. But strangely, they're Apple product, of course. They work fine with an iPhone and iPad. They work great. They absolutely refuse to connect to my computer via my desktop via Bluetooth. I can't get them to connect no matter what I do. So that's why I'm having to deal with these headphones. Otherwise, I'd be using the AirPods. So with that long diatribe, it seems that my internet has held up under the rigors of a live stream. So hope that was interesting, entertaining, and informative. And go check out the BC calendar, attend some events, and get involved, and check out Mary's fundraiser. Let's try to hit her goal and help her buy a PC for her new tech center project. Okay, have a good evening. Talk to you later. What button do I press here? This one? Okay.
Good morning, sun. How are you? Skies above. Gee, it's great to be